Hi, and welcome back to Spiritual Sage Astrology. I am more than grateful to have you here with me today, and I hope that you learn something about yourself or a friend, a family member, a partner, a child with some of these videos that I'm putting out. Today we are focusing on number 10, which will be the moon in Capricorn. So this video, if you have your sun in Capricorn, is not for you. This is for the moon in Capricorn. And you can find your moon sign in your overall natal chart online. There's several places. You punch in free natal chart and it'll take you some great places to download your natal chart for free, and you'll see what your moon sign is. How exciting is that? Because this tool is an ancient science, and it's one of the ways that God speaks to us is through the stars. And it's a very powerful tool, and it's a way to take some of that power back. Take some of your power back with your knowledge of this ancient tool. So the heavens are opening up for you today, moon in Capricorn, and they have a few things they'd like to share with you that perhaps you didn't realize about yourself. Okay, Capricorn moon is a feminine earth sign. A Capricorn moon is domestic, the engineer of the zodiac. Observant, precise builder and manipulator, they are practical, organized, and methodical. This is an ideal moon position for those interested in politics, mathematics, and architecture. Hitler was born with the moon in Capricorn, and it is said that if he had not got involved in politics, he would have been the greatest architect in Germany. Natural gifts of attention to details and great observational skills are usually present. As in the infamous case of Hitler, who misused this moon's position, it produces political fanatics and manipulators, leading to destruction, as represented by the head of the goat, the devil. Karmic Saturn sees it all and brings his children to despair and depression when the laws of cause and effect are ignored. On a more positive note, many successful souls from all walks of life were born with this moon's position. Perfectionism, snootiness, criticism, and an overconcern with health may also be present if the moon is badly afflicted. A strong appreciation of classical art is also found for these self-made souls. Stimulated by power, wealth, and position, many moon and Capricorn souls will marry older partners. However, the old ones may be able to afford a much younger and prettier partner. Strongly committed to their families, they strive for security their whole lives. Many of them are gifted with cooking abilities, and others will join the real estate industry. Children born with this moon position must be allowed to understand and respect the status and values of others. The last resting place may be in the highest building and the wealthiest part of a town, a representation of their successful sign. A goat reaching the icy top of a high mountain. So remember that your whole natal chart makes up you as an individual. It's not just the one placement. You hear so many people say, and they're astrologers, and they're right to say it because that is written as far as your signs and what your typical traits are, right? These are just typical traits. But doesn't mean that every sun sign or, whatever big placement it is, like your sun, your moon, and your rising sign, you're going to see those traits necessarily in yourself. They may be present. I mean, they'll be present in some way. And and some will be stronger than others, like a typical trait, in other words, is what I'm saying, because a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on that, and it's not necessarily always true. They say, oh yeah, Capricorn is like this, or Sagittarius is like this, Pisces is like this. It's a typical trait, but it's certainly not set in stone. Like I said, all your placements make up who you are, not just the one placement. And also, you could be evolved. Like, you may have had that typical, perhaps negative trait in your childhood, and then as you evolved, you don't have it. You don't have that trait anymore. And so you're like wondering, that doesn't really sound like me. That's because that could be the case. People put too much strong emphasis on typical traits when you have to look at everything. It's good to know about the typical traits to every sign and every planet, and on and on. But again, our whole natal chart is going to make up the individual, and everybody's going to be different. So I really don't like to strongly assign a trait, especially if it's a negative trait, to a specific sign, because I've seen it in my own experience and my own life and my journey becoming an astrologer, that those traits aren't always set in stone. And like I said, it's because you have to look at everything in your chart that makes up the person, and also evolving. As you evolve and you grow as a person, some people that are aware of these can work on them, these negative traits, and they have evolved, and they don't have that particular trait. They've overcome it. So don't like to really assign a specific trait to anybody strongly, because I've seen this, and I've seen it in my own life. Of course, too, I've seen people where they're not utilizing and using their gifts, their superpowers. With me, I was guided. I didn't know anything about astrology when I was younger. I didn't utilize astrology. But for some reason, I was guided to be able to use these gifts and superpowers. And then when I became an astrologer, I got into astrology, I was like, wow, that's why I did this, and that, and this is why I'm doing this, that, and this. But I didn't realize that, they were my gifts or my superpowers at the time. And I'm just so grateful that I was guided in the right direction, because I've seen family members that have these gifts that they're not utilizing. They have no idea about them. So I was one of the fortunate ones, and perhaps some of you were also. But that's how it worked out for me. But with this, you can have that knowledge again and turn the steering wheel in any direction that you wish. So with the moon in Capricorn, like anything else, it has the light side and the dark side. And the moon in Capricorn will modify your sun sign in this way. You are more determined, responsible, disciplined, patient, and committed. On the dark side of a Capricorn moon, you will be more rigid, pessimistic, opinionated, materialistic, and over-exacting. Capricorn has both a stabilizing and restrictive effect on the shifting influence of the moon. The moon represents the emotional, sympathetic side of a personality, whereas Capricorn is an unemotional and undemonstrated sign. People with the moon in this position have to overcome obstacles and complexities within their own natures to find the happiness they can constantly seek. If you have the moon in Capricorn, you have an alert mind and are very eager to learn. However, you are not interested in vague theory. You want to put your knowledge to use. An example of this talent for practical application is Thomas Edison. We see the inventive, far-reaching vision of the Aquarian truth seeker, but the focus of his work was to make his experiments useful, to put them into everyday utilization. His inventions of the telegraph, phonograph, electric light, and moving picture changed the way we live. Another example of a Capricorn moon is Gene Kelly, whose sun was on the Leo-Virgo cusp. In his life, we saw the creativity and exuberance of Leo, the hard work of an ethic of Virgo. His Capricorn moon was evident in how he took his knowledge of dancing and applied it in a practical way to film choreography. In the process, he introduced an entirely new genre of musical comedy and changed the very way such movies were filmed. If you have a moon in Capricorn, you are organized, ambitious, and usually a prodigious worker. Self-sufficient and a bit solitary, you are haunted by a feeling of responsibility of a task you must fulfill. You are a determined person, but your single-mindedness can sometimes turn into obsession. You pin your hopes on an idea, turn all your energies into one direction. If you fail, you may suffer serious depression. Of course, because of their unshakable commitment, most lunar Capricorns succeed and often make an imprint on the world. Napoleon Bonaparte, George Washington, and Abraham Lincoln all had their moon in Capricorn. Lunar Capricorns who have their sun or ascendant in one of the cardinal signs, such as Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, have particularly auspicious auguries for leadership. Money is important to you, not so much for what it can buy as for the status it bestows in the world of business, politics, finance, and high society where you wish to shine. You have charming social manners and an instinct for getting to know the right people. Unknown to all but your closest intimates, you suffer from feelings of insecurity and loneliness. Often you conceal this with a dry sense of humor. Your secret terror is of being abandoned or having someone you love cease to love you. You find it hard to reveal your deepest feelings and therefore may be perceived as being cold or calculating. For many lunar Capricorns, authority and power are compensation for the difficulties they encounter in emotional areas. Lunar Capricorns tend not to find true love in youth. Cautious and reserved, you tend to turn your feelings inward and you need a lot of emotional reassurance before you allow them to be drawn out. You also have difficulty putting your complete trust in someone else. But at some point, usually when you are past 30, you find the person you can become totally involved with, and then your love is durable. When you feel secure within an emotional relationship, your commitment may last your entire lifetime. You are loyal and steadfast, generous and giving. In fact, you often give more than you get back. This is especially true about the relationship of female lunar Capricorns to their lovers and friends. No matter what your sun sign may be, the Capricorn moon qualities of steadfastness and dedication manifest themselves in your personality. If your sun is in an earth sign such as Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, a Capricorn moon underlines your executive talent and ability to achieve great rewards. You have hidden depths to your character. If your sun is in a water sign such as Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, a Capricorn moon lends force and dynamism to your creativity. This is an excellent position for attracting wealth and fame. If your sun is in an air sign such as Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, a Capricorn moon brings strength and intensity to your resourcefulness and encourages far-ranging interests. This is a good combination for people in communications, television, and publishing. If your sun is in a fire sign, such as Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, A Capricorn moon confers a special gift for authority and self-reliance. You have a mesmerizing personality. Whatever your sun sign, a Capricorn moon gives you persistence, an ambitious and powerful personality, and an instinct for excellence. Now I'd like to bring out a few famous people with the moon Capricorn. Lucille Ball, the comedian, actress, 40s, 50s era. Lucille Ball had her moon in Capricorn. Yogi Berra, the baseball player, early baseball player. I'm not sure what year he was a baseball player. Yogi Berra had his moon in Capricorn. Napoleon Bonaparte, political figure in France, French. Napoleon Bonaparte had his moon in Capricorn. Johnny Carson, late night talk show host. Johnny Carson had his moon in Capricorn. Thomas Edison, inventor. Thomas Edison, inventor, had his moon in Capricorn. Margaret Fontaine, I believe she was a British ballet dancer. Margaret Fontaine had her moon in Capricorn. John Glenn, the astronaut. John Glenn had his moon in Capricorn. Ernest Hemingway, author, writer. Ernest Hemingway had his moon in Capricorn. Gene Kelly, the dancer, film star, 40s, 50s era. Gene Kelly had his moon in Capricorn. Robert Kennedy, political figure. Robert Kennedy had his moon in Capricorn. Abraham Lincoln, another political figure, had his moon in Capricorn. Abraham Lincoln, moon in Capricorn. Anais Nin, author. Anais Nin had her moon in Capricorn. George Washington had another political figure, another president, had his moon in Capricorn. A lot of politicians. Stephen Sondheim was an American composer and lyricist. He was regarded as one of the most important figures in the 20th century in musical theater. Credited for reinventing the American musical. Had his moon in Capricorn. And that will conclude our moon in Capricorn. And please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate the exchange of energy. And next time you go out and you look at those beautiful heavens with your beautiful moon up there and the stars, remember you are noble because you are made from those stars. Have a lovely day, moon in Capricorn.